Hello and happy Tuesday to everybody out there. Welcome into the PHLY Phillies podcast. Jamie Lynch, Renee Washington, Tyler Zulli. And I just want to get ahead of this, Renee. I did crack and get a coffee today. Okay?
I did crack and got my Hallmark cup.
Oh, wow. That is the most Hallmarky cup I've ever seen in the world.
Well, I've been talking about it. I haven't brought it on the show yet.
Oh, it gets, okay, there it is. This is my Christmas movies watching tumbler.
Yeah. So
Wow.
for all of you in the chat, I've got my tumbler. Tyler, I don't know if
Still holding on to those Christmas dreams, huh?
Well, it's like a winter look. It's got the classic red wagon. It's got some snow and it's just like a holiday.
What do we got in
but
there?
now
A
it's a
little gin
winter
and tonic? Tequila?
It's actually a mango juice. It's really good.
I believe you.
I like fruit juices.
Yeah. I crush orange juice.
Oh my gosh, I almost put orange juice in here.
I have a problem though because I drink it a lot of it and quickly. So like I'll pour a pint and just literally chug it. So the bottle of orange juice is gone like fairly
so you like
quickly.
Pulp?
I can go both ways. You know, pulp, no pulp. I'm good. Welcome into everyone in the chat here. Neil Dever, I believe, is the first in the chat today, just pounding away at the keyboard for his case for Chase Utley to make the Hall of Fame. As that chatter is picked up alive and well, and Ken Rosenthal's written stories, and MLB Network was doing bits on Utley's case. And it certainly looks good for him to make it in terms of the percentages of votes right now. Now, Renee, why don't you put up
I feel like I have all these gifts to share.
Our little countdown calendar here. So here, number 33 represents the amount of days until pitchers and catchers reporting to Clearwater. Here, number 79 represents amount of days until MLB opening day, which in my opinion should be a national holiday. Make all the games staggered throughout the day. And just everybody should take a half day from work, and we should go celebrate America's pastime.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Maybe it should be for a few leagues, actually. I'd be fine with more days off. It's a holiday, everybody's off. You go watch the games.
Yeah.
I like it. I think that's a great idea. Let's put that petition in.
Yeah, so there you have it. We'll have our countdown clock. This reminds me of when you said you were ordering this, the first thing I thought was CYO basketball scoreboard.
This is classic CYO basketball scoreboard. Somebody wouldn't be paying attention. They mess up a side, or they flip over the wrong side. And now you're like, the scoreboard's wrong, Johnny. Yeah, this is classic CYO basketball. Or just like rec basketball days in general, like those early struggles.
This brings me back to the St. Ignatius
I'm not
days.
gonna lie, it's kind of fun though. Like I was thoroughly enjoying like flipping the numbers and,
It's always good to visualize. And now we get to visualize how far away from Florida we are. Just 33 days until we get to put on NBC Sports Philly and look at the warm sunshine of Florida. So happy Tuesday to all. Welcome in today. Lots to get into. We have a guest joining us, Nick Hamilton from out in L.A. I guess we can talk about the Dodgers gluttony with him as Teoscar Hernandez. And by the way, $8.5 million of that, I know we touched on it yesterday, deferred. The Dodgers are just the defer machine right now.
I know. They should be the Los Angeles deferred.
I saw that team logo going around.
Yeah,
in the Dodgers logo.
But we'll get there. We're jumping ahead, Jamie.
Well, I'm just previewing the show, Renee. So 33 days until pitchers and catchers. That's nice to think about, especially with a winter weird rain windstorm upon us.
Like, what is this?
It's always nice to look ahead to Florida.
That's why we had to bring out the flannel, the plaid, the turtlenecks. And in the chat I was seeing it's turtleneck season. Yeah, this is exactly why. But guys, Dave, Neil, Randy, Spiral Out, MBDBDBF, Mickey, we're close, guys. We're close.
Yes. We have a Down on the Farm report today and Renee's favorite game, Guess That Stance. which we'll get to, plus some Phillies trivia, which we're going to be doing on Tuesdays now going forward. Renee is going to be the quiz master. Tyler and I's ass will be on the griddle in the trivia room. I don't like my odds going against Tyler. He's one of these sneaky good random baseball trivia guys. So I think I'm walking into a buzzsaw, but we'll see. Sure. We'll see. There's only one way to find out.
I'm excited to be on the other side of the trivia because I thoroughly love trivia, but I don't like
I love trivia,
getting trivia questions.
I love Quizzo at a bar.
See,
and what was the old game they used to have at like Fridays where you would get like
oh yeah,
you would get like the little thing and you would like play along with the TV and it would do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do actually. I enjoy that kind of trivia. So anytime we play games,
you just don't like when the spotlight's on you and everybody's looking.
I do and I don't. It's weird though because if I play a trivia game, like we'll play Family Feud or even headbands or even something as basic as like gestures and stuff. Headbands where you put the
the heads up.
Yeah,
is it heads up?
I thought it was headbands.
Headbands, literally, you have a band and you put a card in there.
Oh, the different games.
Oh, it's the same thing. So we're both right.
It's basically the same
game.
It's just
the
digital versus card game.
Yeah,
okay.
tomato. All
right.
And
I've
then
only done the phone version.
Like charades. Like I'm really good at those games. But I don't know. Sometimes it's only when I'm winning, basically.
Yeah.
Part of that I hate any games with a timer. I just don't like games. I like to win. I think that's what it comes down to. So if my odds are low to win, I don't want to play. Yeah, that's why I don't play. Like I don't golf.
I was just gonna say, don't take up golf.
I'm terrible at golf, so I don't golf.
Impossible.
And I like golfing at like Top Golf or Miniature Golf or bowling up until I start to lose. I am a terrible loser, guys. It's fine.
So you put the bumper lanes in when you go bowling?
After I hit a couple gutter balls, yeah. I'm going with the kids with the bumpers.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk trash.
I love bowling. I wish I could do it more often. Anyway, back to the Phillies, and then we'll get into some MLB stuff, and then we have a guest, and then we have trivia and ballpark and down on the farm and all sorts of stuff.
All this excitement, Kim just reminded me, and I thank you, Kim, for this reminder. I didn't realize when you were showing this that you gave up already. I thought you weren't.
Well, there's a reason for my cowardice today. Oh, that's why I wanted to get ahead of it. I didn't want the chat like being like, what the F, dude?
Yeah,
you said you weren't buying coffee.
Classic New Year's decision of I'm gonna save money, be financially responsible, and not buy Starbucks.
So,
and it is January 9th. What is today's date?
Okay, let me. I have a reason for this. My wife and her, in our joint effort of saving money this year, decided to pay somebody to do a new backsplash in our kitchen. So they were, that's my coffee reset.
0 days since Jamie paid.
It's not a real resolution. I never said I was going to give it up absolutely. It was just something I'm making a conscious effort to do less of. I never said I was going cold turkey. Anyway, our friend was doing the backsplash in the kitchen today. Wasn't a normal breakfast, get the girls out the door situation. I wasn't in my comfort zone. I mean, I'm fully admitting I was being a coward, and I chalked myself up to these next 2 or 3 days getting coffee. And I got to say, I missed it. It's delicious. But
the chat's absolutely roasting.
It was not a resolution. It was just an effort to be better. That's all.
Yeah, happy first.
Resolutions only set yourself up for failure, people. That's why I don't perform resolutions.
You know what?
I tweak my life.
I thoroughly enjoyed that with all the random things we put out there. The chat just picks up on it. Spiral Out is saying, for those listening on podcast platforms, happy first bought coffee of the year, the second Tuesday of the year. Thank you, Spiral Out.
Yeah.
Exactly, because we like to celebrate the little things.
Tuesday, yeah.
It is the second Tuesday of 2024, and it's your first coffee of 2024 that you bought from Starbucks.
I think that's pretty good. It wasn't a resolution. I never said I was going to stop buying it.
All right.
If you ever listen to me, I said I wanted to be better about doing it because I was doing it every day and it became a problem. And then I did the math of how much it cost me over the course of a year. So yada, yada, yada. It was never a resolution, but I have been better. So I win. Let's get to the Phillies, and then we got a lot to get to today. A new name has entered the trade market and a rumor mill out there. And the Rays are shopping another player of theirs. Tyler, as soon as I said the Rays, just shot up like, huh? That player that is on the market is first baseman, outfielder, DH, Harold Ramirez, per Ken Rosenthal. They are shopping him. He is under team control through 2025, so you get 2 more years of him. He's 29 years old. Last year had an .813 OPS, 12 home runs in 122 games with Tampa Bay last year. Again, a very shitty defensive player. A negative 1.1 defensive WAR guy. Any interest? I mean, anytime Tampa Bay is shopping somebody, I do kind of perk up a little bit. Doesn't do a lot for me. That being said, my expectation is the Phillies really aren't going to address the outfield in a meaningful way. So if it was this or nothing, I would take it, but it doesn't really like knock my socks off, Renee.
So there's already been 6 other names shopped out for Tampa Bay. Of course, Tyler Glasnow, one of them, and Manuel Margot as well. Looking at Harold Ramirez specifically, projected $4.4 million salary in arbitration, dwindling club control. There's some factors there that for the Rays, they're trying to be financially responsible themselves. I'm not really sure. He's got just 2 years of club control left.
Players are exactly in their wheelhouse, though. Like, if you're trying to be financially responsible.
2 years of club control left, limited defensive value, as you mentioned, and Tampa Bay has been open to making some trades that fit, as the report's saying, fit that description. Yeah, I would think that he'd be in their wheelhouse to keep, but I think it seems like Tampa Bay is just actively exploring trade scenarios for
always blowing their roster up. It's got to be rough to be a Rays fan. On the one hand, they're phenomenal at scouting and developing and all that, and then on the other hand, everybody they develop and scout, they eventually sell.
Basically.
That's got to be rough.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Ramirez and who's going to be interested, but Tampa Bay looks like they're basically dangling the carrot out of who's going to take this player. If not, it's okay, wait, maybe we'll try somebody else. So, yeah, I was surprised, but not surprised at all because it's a classic Rays move, it seems like.
Yeah, Tyler, any interest?
No, because here's the thing. I mean, the bat's fine. It's a solid bat, but he played in approximately 120 some odd, 122, and 91 of those games he was the DH for. His defensive runs saved metrics at every single position that he played last year, and at least in 2023, were negatives. He was a -2 at first, which ranks 159th out of the 170 some odd qualified players. His run metrics in left field were not any good either. He cannot play center field. No. So he's basically he's pretty much limited to the DH spot at this point of his career.
Occasional spot starts in left field.
Yeah, I mean, so like his time in Cleveland, he played a lot more outfield. He played 93 games in the outfield in 2021. He played 110 in Miami in 2019. But at this point, I don't view him as an everyday outfielder. He's an everyday DH to me.
And that's the thing that the one article that I was reading about MLB's, the rumor itself was talking about how Ramirez played a combined 401 innings in 2022 between first base and outfield. And then in 2023, 117 innings that number was cut down to total. And it seems as though for the Rays, they're not really sure how or where or if they want to use him. So yeah, I think it's definitely it's a no, but it is an interesting fact that Tampa Bay just continuously seems to want to shop everybody out this offseason, just like others.
And guys, a negative defensive WAR every single season that he played. It's
impressive.
So in 2020,
can't even be mad.
2020 he only played three. He only played 3 games in 2020, but he was a -1 in 19, a -1.1 in 21, a -1.3 in 22, and he was a -1.1 last season.
So he fits the Phillies mold for left fielders.
But he's not an outfielder. Yeah. He's a DH.
Yeah, so he fits the mold for Phillies outfielders or left fielders. I mean, Kyle Schwarber and Rhys Hoskins were not left fielders either, and we had to watch that for many years. We'll get to the Rhys Hoskins updates in a minute. I just saw his name mentioned in the chat there.
Oh, yeah.
Said, might as well bring back Rhys at that point. So today, a couple other things before we get to that, because Rhys is tied in with the Chicago Cubs, and we'll preview that in the MLB section here today. But yesterday, we got a question from our Discord I wanted to throw out to you from our man Trezzolini. I believe it's Brian Trezzolini. I don't know if it's his last name or his username, but I've interacted with him before in the past. And by the way, if you want to get access to the Discord, you have to become a diehard member. And let me just tell you this. Phillies fans can be sickos, Eagles, Sixers, Flyers. Every team has their like true sicko fan department. The Flyers might be the most twisted fans in the world I've ever seen. Last night's Flyers Discord channel was absolutely bonkers with the trade of Cutter Gauthier. So if you ever want to do that, just head to ALLPHLY. You can become a diehard. You get discounts on trips, a free T-shirt, access to our Discord, tons of great things that we're going to have cooking in the future, including like watch parties and maybe some other cool stuff. So the question that was posed in our Phillies Discord last night, which is very tame and utopian compared to the Flyers chaos. Brian says, hypothetical for the room. Would you rather have Schwarber K less but have a higher average with less home runs, or his current setup? High Ks, high home runs, low batting average. If it was possible for him to make that shift, I would rather just have him be who he is. And if you know me, that's a big statement for me to make.
Wow.
Yeah, Renee, if you could automatically wave the wand over Kyle Schwarber and make him a higher average, lower home runs, but more, doubles and singles hitter, would you?
I don't know. It's a tough one. I mean, 47 home runs, 104 RBIs, 197 average. I think I would just go with what I know.
Yeah.
As you guys know, I don't like to take those gambles and risks.
He's a live and die by the sword kind of guy. So
yeah, I think that's what you expect from your power hitter. And
Yeah.
I think as a DH, I'm going for the jugular.
I agree with Neil Dever. Option 3, just don't bat him leadoff. Yeah, I think that's the most logical one, Neil, but what do I know? He's got a high on base. Tyler, would you make that trade for Kyle Schwarber?
Well, I think it depends on what the drop-off is. If we're talking about going from 46 home runs to 36 home runs and the average in OBP, well, the OBP is solid. We know that he walks a lot. Solid. But if the average raises, what do we what's the trade? You know what I mean?
He didn't get into specifics.
Is it 10 home runs for 40 points? Is it 10 home runs for
12
70
home
points?
runs less, but his batting average increases 38 points.
No. I'm not giving up 12 home runs for a 235 hitter.
Yeah, I agree with
because then he becomes unvaluable at that point.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I think that if you have a 235 hitter
because of what he does,
hitting 32 home runs. I mean, listen, the 30 home runs is still solid. Like we talked about Cal Raleigh.
That's Rhys Hoskins.
We talked about Cal Raleigh yesterday, right? He hit 230 last season with 30 home runs, and the 30 home runs are great. But I think if you're only getting me to 235. I'd rather just the 46 home runs.
Yeah. Lisa in the chat says, I believe we need higher batting averages, not necessarily from Schwarber, but I do think, a little bit more small ball and contact baseball would be good for the team. Completely agree. We'll see if Nick Castellanos and some of these other guys that can do that, even though Nick kind of had like a career year. We'll see. We'll save that for the daily positive thought of the day.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. We're getting ahead of ourselves here.
Fangraphs yesterday via Codify Baseball on Twitter released their 2024 win totals, which I guess it says rounded. I don't know if their algorithm does decimals and they just round it up. But here's what you have. No surprise, the Braves have the most in baseball with 98 projected wins, according to Fangraphs. And that should tell you right there how hard John Foley's bold prediction for this year will be to get to 100 wins, because even the Braves and the Dodgers are not slotted to do that. The next team on the win total, no shock there. We'll talk to Nick Hamilton, our guest, about this team. 92, the Dodgers. Seems a little low for the amount of talent they have.
I know, but maybe the projection is that the talent's not going to pan out as much as we thought.
Or just how hard it is to get into the high 90s.
That part.
Yeah.
It's a lot of games to win.
Then you have the Astros at 90, the Death Star Yankees at 89, then the Blue Jays at 86, and then you get into the Phillies range. Looking at them on the same level as the Cardinals, Mariners, Rays, and Twins doesn't feel right. No. I do feel like the Phillies are a little better than that this year. If the Cardinals got to 85, am I missing something? It's a staff full of 3s and 4s, and I know Arenado, and this is the last year of Goldschmidt under contract, I think, down there. But I don't know. Like, you're the same win output as the Cardinals? That doesn't seem right.
I know. And then we have the rest of the list, too, as well. Because
by the way, guys, I just had a curious thought. Maybe my math is off because I was never very good at math. But if every team plays 162 games, right? You play 162 games in a season. You multiply that by 15 because every game features 2 teams, right? So there's 15 individual matchups. That gives you a total of 2,430 games played. Approximately, assuming that games don't get
not very good at math. He says,
assuming that games don't get not made up, right? Like the game one.
I don't have my
calculator.
Well, I'm using a calculator.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So thank you.
If you divide that number by 2, which would be every game has a winner and a loser,
right?
You get 1,215 victories.
Okay.
Which would be a 500 mark for the entire league. Which my thought initially would be, wouldn't the league go 500? If everybody's playing everybody, don't the numbers balance out?
Yeah.
They should, right? So those teams that you guys just brought up are projected to win 880 of the 1,215 games played.
It's not mathing.
That's 10 teams. The teams you guys just talked about, this list that we were just showing you, this one here, is Braves, Dodgers, Astros, Yankees, Blue Jays, Phillies, Cardinals, Mariners, Rays, Twins. That's 10 teams. That's a third of the league.
Yeah.
Right.
Fangraphs believes that a third of the league is going to win over 75% of the games.
That math is not.
Maybe my math ain't mathin'. I don't know.
Well, what makes
but that's just like my first thought was that's insane.
What makes it tougher is when you look at the rest of the numbers, they shouldn't be that high then technically. So when you look at the remainder of the list, you've got the Mets at 84, the Orioles at 83, Marlins, Diamondbacks, Rangers, Red Sox 82, Padres, Brewers, Guardians, Giants, Tigers at 80. And then in the mix from 76 to 78, Cubs, Reds, Royals, Angels, Pirates, the Athletics, the Nationals, the White Sox, and Rockies all below 73 wins. Those numbers don't make sense because, like you're saying, mathematically, everybody technically can't win these games. But I guess it's their projection on how many games they should win or could win, not that they will win. Right. If that makes sense.
Randy Rubar says 10 teams will be really bad and 10 teams will be 500. By that kind of I know the actual math might not add up.
But again, right? So you go back to that list. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams above 500, plus the 10 that are into the 85 range. That means they think 16 teams finish over 500. And if the Padres, Brewers, Guardians, Giants, and Tigers all finish 80 and 82, so one of 2 things are happening.
I just don't see all those 85-win teams getting to 85 wins. I think they're more true like 500 teams.
Right. So my question is, one of 2 things are happening. Either I'm an idiot and I can't do math, which is very plausible.
That's possibly it.
Or these numbers ain't mathing.
Well, Randy's saying we should add up each number for each team listed.
You guys can do that. Go ahead. Have fun.
I'm not doing that. Randy, you got that. You know what? Go for it, buddy.
MBD says if the A's win 73 games, he will wash Tyler's car fully nude. I don't want to be around for that, but
nobody is winning at this bet. I don't understand.
I'll go on the honor system there, MBD, that I'll trust you if you say you did it. So I'll take your word for it.
But I do think it's interesting, the projection of wins. That definitely makes
it's real nerdy algorithm stuff that these Fangraph guys
really
create, and they're just punching it in their computers, and whatever their system that they created tells them that's what they run with. And if you were going to run to, say, buy a home, I would tell you to get your ass over to Mortgage CS because these guys are the best. Alec and Ben are the team behind Mortgage CS. And what does Mortgage CS stand for? Well, it stands for Mortgage Concierge Service. They're a white glove service. I met them. We spent like an hour and a half with them, and I just went, damn, I wish I had you two during my 2 home buying processes. Processes? That doesn't sound right. I'm going to go with processes. So I wish I had these guys with me back then because they're awesome. You feel like you have somebody that truly has your back in this process. They have a ton of local relationships with lenders. They're going to do the best for you. They're going to shore up all the loose ends and make sure your credit is on point. You know, if they see something that could raise flags down the line, they're going to alert you with it, help you work with it. And literally, these guys are workaholics. They're maniacs. You see that number on the screen right there? That's Ben, the CEO's personal cell phone. Any time of the day, reach out to the man. Even if you just want to complain about the Phillies or the Eagles, or you think Cutter Gauthier should have never been traded, text him right there, 267-391-7425. If you have a question, if you're thinking about buying a home 2 years from now, whatever it may be, reach out now. They can help you in that process and guide you along the way. And no bullshit, it feels like these guys have your back and are going to do the best for you, the client. They have exceptional customer service. Send Ben a picture of Gabe Kapler sunbathing in his leopard thong right now.
Why is it always Gabe?
Because it's weird. Like if you got a text out of the blue that was Gabe Kapler in a thong from a random number you didn't know, you'd be like, what the hell is going on here? So I encourage you, text them right now. Send them some stuff. But they're going to be your guys. You might just not know it yet, but I'm telling you, text Ben anytime, and he'll get back to you. They're going to do the best for you. 267-391-7425. They have tons of easy tools to make the mortgage process more approachable and understandable. And when you hear the word mortgage, think Mortgage CS and think of Alec and Ben. Save that number right there on the screen. You can email them anytime at ben@mortgagecs.com. And like I said, any time of the day, reach out to them. Check out mortgagecs.com/PHLY to get started. This advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. Mortgage CS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company NMLS ID 1464766. Visit mortgagecs.com for more information.
And you know where else you can go for more information and delicious seasonal options of bagels? That's right. You can head over to Bagels and Co. Now you can get Brooklyn-style bagels right in your backyard, made here in Philly. And the great thing about Bagels and Co. is that with their seasonal bagels, they provide you with a lot of different variety of options. They've got large, fresh bagels that you can make sure to enjoy, not just for breakfast, as we talked about yesterday. Bagels could be part of a lunch sandwich or dinner as well.
Sandwiches.
And if you don't like just the amount of options you have, 15 and 20 options, and that didn't sell you enough, how about the fact that Bagels and Co. has 30 different flavors of cream cheese? I didn't even know there were that many flavors of cream cheese. I only see about 3 in the store. But Bagels and Co. has 30 different flavors of cream cheese, giving you all types of options for how you want to eat your breakfast sandwich, have that lunch bagel, whatever it is that you're eating. And with all that they do, it's at a great affordable price, which makes it even better. So you're getting to eat delicious bagels, but also at a great price. And right here in Philly, convenient, affordable, tasty. The triple threat right there, guys. So head over to Bagels and Co. Check out their website. And for the best Brooklyn-style bagels made right here in Philly, you can go to thebagelsandco.com, find a location near you, and be able to check out and taste the delicious sandwiches like I have talked about many times. I had their pork roll and egg on a rainbow bagel. So good. And I love the fact that you can have every day something completely different and it just be as tasty as the previous day. So staples of the breakfast is having something nutritious, something healthy, something delicious, and something that's affordable and convenient. So you don't have to worry about going to Brooklyn or New York for bagels. You can find them right here in Philly, and you can eat right to kick off your day or maybe end the day with dinner, depending on when you're feasting on some Bagels and Co.
Bagels. All right, before we get to our guest, Nick Hamilton, coming up here, nice little nugget from Alex Coffee locally here today, as she puts out a report that at least 4 big league clubs have approached the Phillies about packaging Eduardo Tate, a power-hitting catcher prospect in the Phillies system, and Brian Rincon in trades. But so far, the Phillies have not budged. Both of these guys are extremely high-rising prospects in the system. Power-hitting catcher you don't hear very often. But Eduardo Tate is a fast riser in the Phillies farm system. Same about Rincon. We're going to get to those guys in the Down on the Farm report.
Oh, yeah.
But they're both top 10 prospects. So you're not going to be hearing about them from us in detail until, a little while from now. But both are extremely fast risers, and it makes sense that a lot of other teams would try and poach that. So
yeah, it's definitely fun to watch the different names that are coming across the prospect pool of different potential, the next generation of talent coming in. And, it makes you wonder what the future is going to look like. But where you don't have to wonder what the future looks like? That's with your finances, and that's with Rocket Money. So Rocket Money is a great finance app. It's right in your pocket that you now have access to be able to check out all of your financial pictures. So any subscriptions that you have, your spending, where your money is going day to day, week to week, month to month. Personally, I love Rocket Money because it allows me to see everything right at my fingertips instead of having to log into every different mobile app. But for you guys with personal finance app right in your pocket with Rocket Money, you can cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitor that spending, and they've had a chance to work with over 5 million users and have helped those members save an average of $720 a year with over $500 million in canceled subscriptions. So you can stop wasting money on things you don't use, cancel those unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/PHLY. That's rocketmoney.com/PHLY. They'll help you get refunds. They'll help make sure that you're getting all of your subscriptions taken care of. And that way you're not missing anything. And each day, each week, you know exactly where your spending is going. So again, that's rocketmoney.com/PHLY.
So hypothetical man is correcting me. Apparently it's Tahit and not Tate. I'll go out on a limb and say of these 25 prospects down on the farm we're going to be talking about, I might mispronounce 9 to 10 of them. So if it's Tahit, I apologize to the Tahit family. I always thought it was Tate. But anyway, let's get to our next guest. His name is Nick Hamilton. He's based out west in LA. He is a sports and entertainment host on SiriusXM, founder of Nitecast Media, and also with MLBBro.com. Nick, welcome into the PHLY Phillies show. Thanks for joining us early out west for you, lunchtime here for us.
Thanks for having me. I mean, it's never too early. As a parent, you early mornings are
so my girls are up at usually no later than 7:15. What time does Nick Hamilton get to sleep until?
6:15 Pacific time.
Well, you got it worse than me.
You win.
Yeah.
You win. Now, listen, Nick, I'm going to charge it to your heart and not your head that I think this jacket you're rocking, it looks kind of nice, but is this what I think it is? Can I see the rest of it? I can't. You're a little cut off here. Okay.
Listen, I'm born and raised on the West Coast. I'm born and raised on the West Coast. LA is my home. I'm going to always do it. So, it's West Coast first and then everybody else.
Nick, we were friends, and this was going to be a fun interview, and now it's time. That's it. It's been nice having you. But that's a fresh jacket. I like it. I will say it's very nice. So, obviously, the Dodgers right now, also known as the LA Deferred Money, have been finding a lot of ways to spend big and bring in big-name players. Ohtani, Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, obviously recently also signing Teoscar Hernandez. We talked about it a little bit yesterday with the Teoscar Hernandez deal. How confident are you feeling that this is a team that has the ability to win a World Series within the next 1 to 2 seasons?
Well, I think Andrew Freeman, if you listen to any of his interviews during the offseason, they knew they had a sense of urgency. They knew they had to get something done, especially the last couple of years had not worked out well for them going into the playoffs, having that 5-day layoff, which enabled them to lose in the NLDS. And not be able to accomplish the goals that they had set from spring training on, which is to at least get into the dance to compete for a World Series. And they couldn't even, excuse the expression, they couldn't even snip the draws of the World Series in the last 2 years. So I think when you look at the overall totality of what this means, not only for the Los Angeles Dodgers, but for Major League Baseball as a whole, because you have these superstars in the second largest market in the United States, the Dodgers had to do something very drastic and very different, I might add, in acquiring the players that you've mentioned, including Teoscar Hernandez, which they had been seeking for quite some time. So I wasn't really surprised that they did sign him for $23.5 million on a one-year deal. I think the Dodgers are prone for the next 2 seasons. They're not just looking at this season, but they're also looking at next season. As far as being able to build that camaraderie. And I will say this much, people, Dave Roberts gets a lot of slack, and sometimes it's warranted, sometimes it's not. And I think people have to understand that you need to be sending Dave Roberts some gifts this coming season, because he is one of the catalysts and reasons why they were able to sign a Shohei Ohtani, a Yamamoto, because of that connection, because of the cultural connection that they all shared. And I think that helped tremendously, not only just being in Los Angeles, being a premier team in Los Angeles, but that connection that they have with Dave Roberts, as well as Andrew Freeman. So a lot of credit goes to them. And I think the Dodgers realize, hey, look, LA is a Laker and a Dodger town. You got LeBron James. You have Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers. You have, USC Trojans at one point in time with Caleb Williams when they were going on that particular run. So LA is always busy and thriving. So you have to do something drastic to keep your name in front of the lights, in front of the people, and on the front covers of newspapers and hot takes and whatnot to be able to stay relevant in this market.
Yeah, so Nick, I'm curious your thoughts on this. I always think heels are good in sports, like these super teams that become heels. I think, I have more interest in watching a Dodgers game than I've ever had before. Do you think the Dodger fan base and team is ready to embrace kind of that everybody hates us? It's rooted in jealousy, but do you think they're going to thrive, kind of getting everybody's best shot this year?
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of sodium levels are high this time of year, especially now that the Dodgers are the team with the bullseyes on their backs because of what they've been able to do. And listen, people got mad because of the Shohei Ohtani signing, the way they were able to structure that contract. Obviously, the Yamamoto contract. Now you got Hernandez and his contract. You still have to be concerned about what the future holds for Walker Buehler. Hopefully he has a great season, which Andrew Freeman has been very high. They're going to work him back in slowly. And he's going to be up for a new contract at some point. So I think, it's a lot of hate in people's blood. But you know what? You hate the best because you're not the best. And that's what it boils down to. And so Los Angeles is thriving, is buzzing. I mean, the opening night or opening weekend is going to be absolutely bonkers. And even though Shohei Ohtani is not pitching, he's still going to be able to hit every day, which means there's going to be fanfare every day. I mean, I've had people hit me up, say, hey man, you think you can give me a couple tickets? How about absolutely hell no? I haven't heard from you in I don't know how long. Now all of a sudden I'm getting DMs or phone calls from some people that I haven't talked to in 10 damn years. And now all of a sudden you want to have it. And I'm sure other people have gotten those same sentiments and those same type of issues with people hitting them up. Some of my media colleagues have expressed the similar things. So I think Dodger fans are ready. I think Dodger fans are hungry for another title. I think Dodger fans got cheated, unfortunately, because of the COVID pandemic. When the Dodgers won in 2020, weren't able to really celebrate with a parade and to really shower these guys with the appreciation that they deserve and that they earn for that 2020 World Series. So I think it's overly due for the Los Angeles Dodgers to have a parade down Figueroa at some point.
Well, I won't ask the question I was considering about tickets. No, I'm just kidding. But it is interesting to me how people all of a sudden come out of the woodworks and very conveniently now can remember you and want to reach out for tickets. But with that being said, all that the Dodgers have done, we've still heard their name connected to others, Dylan Cease being one of them. Do you predict or foresee any other major signings or just signings in general for the Dodgers in the foreseeable near future? I hope
not.
I mean, we hope you guys are done, but I've been seeing reports that the Dodgers are not.
I mean, with Andrew Freeman, listen, Andrew Freeman's trying to go for that Executive of the Year title. I mean, he is definitely going after it in a big, major way, and rightfully so. I mean, obviously they have Evan Phillips, who did a great job. I think they're also the Dodgers are looking at possibly adding another closer, whether that be Evan Phillips, whether that be Josh Hader, trying to acquire him. I like Blake Treinen, I like Hudson. But I think Evan Phillips is the guy. If they're going to go with a closer, I would look at Evan Phillips. But I definitely wouldn't turn my nose down at Josh Hader. I think Josh Hader has proven that he can definitely know how to close a ball game. You can throw him in. And if they're able to acquire Josh Hader for a few years, then why not do it? Why not pull the trigger? Hey, if you're gonna load up right. Don't halfway do it. Load up right. So listen. The Dodgers are going to have a tremendous amount. This is not just about the regular season. Let me be absolutely clear. When people look at these signings, this is not about regular season signings. We know what the Dodgers have done previously. They've won the division countless years. The NL West has been theirs pretty much for the most part, countless years. Even when they were counted out last year, a lot of people thought the Arizona Diamondbacks were going to win that division because of how they started out. And the Dodgers had a little slow period. They had some injuries, but they were able to rebound, come back. The Arizona Diamondbacks took a straight nosedive. I mean, I have not seen anybody blow and crap the bed the way the Arizona Diamondbacks did. I mean, we've seen kids blow out birthday candles better than the Arizona Diamondbacks have blown opportunities like that. But this is mostly for the postseason. These signings are postseason signings. They are tired of scraping the bottom of the pudding cup, as it were, when it comes to the playoffs and just getting to the NLDS and struggling in the NLDS. They are going for the World Series. So these signings are more geared towards World Series and NLCS opportunities versus just regular season opportunities.
Speaking of those playoffs, Nick, two-parter. I want to know, what's the batting order with possibly the 3 most lethal batters in a baseball lineup ever put together, with Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Shohei Ohtani? And then what's the pitching rotation in said playoff series?
That's a good question. You know what, man? I will say this. I think the hitting part is a little easier, because with the pitching, we're still trying to figure out, was Yamamoto. Obviously, you added another pitcher. We don't know where Walker Buehler is going to be in that lineup, but you do have some flexibility in that pitching rotation. So that's great. That's something Dodgers have not had in quite a while. Plus, still wondering what Clayton Kershaw, he's going to come back to Los Angeles, or is he going to move on to the Texas Rangers? But as far as the hitting goes, listen, you mentioned Mookie Betts, you mentioned Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani. Now you got Hernandez in that lineup, which is going to be absolutely deadly. So I think they have a lot of hitting pieces. I think they're solid. They've always been solid with hitting. Their main Achilles heel in the last couple of years has been their pitching rotation. It has been their pitching staff. I think once they have locked that down, I think their pitching staff are really going to be looked upon and really studied and even ridiculed at times, more so than just the hitting, because we know what the Dodgers can do at the plate. We've seen what they've done at the plate with less than they have, what they have right now. So I'm not concerned about at the plate. My concern is what is the rotation going to look like for the first 3 months? And then can you keep these guys healthy? Glasnow, guys like that have had a history of injury. Fortunately, they were one of the best training staffs and medical staffs in Major League Baseball with the Los Angeles Dodgers training staff. So my hat's off to them when it comes to that. So I think if you can keep these guys healthy going into that especially post All-Star break, when it really starts to count and matter, that's what you're going to have to see from the Dodgers. Can they stay healthy in that and really be hot at the right time? Because as y'all know, whether it's the Phillies, whether it's the Dodgers or whoever, it's a crapshoot. You got to be hot at the right time, at the right moment, to be able to get those opportunities that you desire from spring training on.
Yeah, you're right about that, Nick. I know various people in the chat are bringing up questions about the pitching as well. And our producer, Tyler, actually has a question for you about the pitching. So I'll let him ask it.
Yeah, so first off, Nick, this is more of a statement than anything else. Dodgers fans, can name your price for Brusdar Graterol. Just let me know what it's going to cost for the Phillies to get Brusdar. I love that guy. But my real question is, you talked about the rotation, and Ohtani comes back next year, and Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin come off of injury, and Gavin Stone has made appearances, and Michael Grove has made appearances in Major League Baseball. There's a plethora of options. If this team were to move one of the younger arms, maybe at the end of this year or before next year, which of the starters do you think is the most likely to be moved?
Listen, you're asking just from a point of view of mine. I would probably say, if I have to look at, the Dustin Mays of the world, the Bobby Millers, I would probably look at Dustin May. That would probably be the guy I would probably have to let go if I had to let somebody go, just because he's had a history of injuries that have been consistent. He's almost, I hate to say it, he's almost been like the Anthony Davis of baseball. And so if I'm going to have to get rid of somebody, that's the guy I'll probably have to part ways with. The other names that you mentioned, I would definitely keep on, because listen, Tony Gonsolin we've seen what he's been able to do. I think Tony Gonsolin, once he comes off of injury and really gets back into the rotation, and they're going to work him back, I believe, into the rotation fairly, because they don't want to risk further injury and work him back into the rotation, which is very, very, very smart. But they have some kids. I think a couple of the kids from last year had to go through the gauntlet and had to really take some bumps and bruises, and I think it made them better. I think it's going to make them stronger mentally as well as physically. And I think sometimes you have to go through those bumps and bruises to be able to get to the brighter side of the situation. My uncle used to tell me my great uncle used to say all the time, sometimes you got to go through crap to come out smelling like a rose. And that's exactly what I think these young kids have been able to do when it comes to that. But listen, it's Dodger time, baby. This is what it's about. This is what spring training is going to be at capacity this year, I believe, especially with Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, Glass now. Now you got Hernandez in the mix. I mean, dear Lord. I mean, the Dodgers are not playing at all. I mean, if I'm San Francisco, I'm salty. You know, there's a lot of salty San Francisco Giant fans out there. There's a lot of Yankee fans that are salty. I know a buddy of mine who's a top-notch Yankee fan. He started hating on the Dodgers. I'm like, look, man, get that hate out your blood, man. It's okay. You guys are the Yankees. You'll be okay. You got Aaron Judge, one of the most feared, players in all of baseball, one of the hardest playing guys in Major League Baseball. You'll be okay. Now the Giants, yeah, I understand why they're a little salty because you got burned not once but twice.
Well, Nick, here in Philadelphia, we wish you guys the absolute worst this season, but we thank you for joining us. It was a very enjoyable conversation.
Listen, I expect nothing less from you, man. You're over there in Philadelphia. I know how the Philadelphians act. I mean, y'all boo Santa Claus. You guys, I understand.
The sports hate runs deep in us.
We are praying for your downfall for sure. We're looking forward to a flop.
But follow Nick on Twitter at Nick Hamilton 213. He can catch him on SiriusXM, owns Nitecast Media, and of course on MLBBro.com. Nick, thanks so much for joining us, and all the worst to the Dodgers this year.
But thank you guys so much for having me. Continued success, and listen, I got a lot of love for people in Philly, man. So it's all love from my standpoint.
All right. Great time, Nick. Thanks for joining us. There you have it. The Dodgers, as somebody in the chat says, is like rooting for Russia in the Winter Olympics.
Or like rooting for the government.
Yeah. So, but good interview, but like, God, that's got to be cool.
I know. And listen, there were some great points about injuries because that absolutely can be the Achilles heel of any super team.
They always have pitching talent. It's just they always seem to be pitching injured.
Exactly. And so to have Nick on to talk about the Dodgers, we had Malik on last week to talk about the Rangers. I feel like we're in different situations, but it's fine. It's got a long season ahead of us, so we're just gonna...
It's so wild to me. Like we ran down that list of starting pitchers and like, hey, you have to move one, and it's like, well, here's a kid who's got filthy stuff, and you just go, okay, you can just move him. And on top of all that, he brought up Kershaw, right? Probably one of the 3 or 4 best Dodgers pitchers in history.
Regular season?
Sure. Yes, of course. Like you talk about Dodgers pitchers all time, you go Koufax, and then
Fernando Valenzuela,
you probably
Oil
go
Hershiser, and Clayton Kershaw are probably the big 4, right?
The fact that he has just become an after,
Oral Hershiser of Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
There you go.
Local.
The fact he's become an afterthought, and listen, I know he didn't pitch well last year. I'm not saying he's good still, but like that's a Dodger legend that they're just like, okay, bye.
Yeah, I know.
So, all right, we got a lot to get to here, and of course, already not a lot of time remaining. So before we get to Down on the Farm, I think it's time for our Tuesday trivia with Renee. We're going to do Tuesday trivia with Renee, Down on the Farm report, and today is George Klassen. And then we're going to do it was my positive thought of the day today. And then after that, we will get to Guess That Stance. We got a lot to get to.
And we have some quick updates, though, about Rhys.
We'll throw it out there, but we can't really,
we're not going to do a deep dive, but we have to at least mention some quick updates.
We got to move. Here we go. We got a lot to get to.
Amazon has been a trap, and I definitely went down the rabbit hole of not only buying this lovely scoreboard. Tyler, you're going to be blue. Jamie, you're going to be red.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we're getting official. It's best of 3. This is rapid fire. I need to be able to flip the...
I know. It is
it is a glare.
Do I have to like smack the desk? Is this like a Jeopardy thing?
You just got to be the first to answer.
The glare was driving
So today's topic in our Phillies history book is history.
Oh, boy.
Or Phillies trivia book is history. I'm sorry.
What are we doing? Are we smacking the table?
Yeah. Do I have to like run up and hit your table?
You have to...
You have to chirp like a bird.
While I'm connected to
I like
the
chirping,
cord?
actually. We are we're talking down on the farm, so I need to hear a bird sound.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'll just answer the question.
I'll do my goat.
You're not going to do a bird sound? Loser.
What's your best animal noise?
I don't know. I don't like.
What's your best random noise?
I don't just like randomly make noises.
This is for a point.
I have no idea.
Give me a sound. Go.
Wee woo.
You suck. All right, so these vary in difficulty, so bear with me here.
And we're doing 3 questions, correct?
It's just 3.
Do I have to wait till the whole question gets asked? It's like Jeopardy.
No.
You have to wait till the end.
We're going to start easy. Which of the following team names did the Phillies franchise? What are two of the... Okay, wait.
Blue Jays and Quakers.
It would help if you could read the question properly.
Because I didn't want to do multiple choices. I realized that's going to be easy. Which of the following team names did the Phillies once go by? Quakers, Blue Jays, Eagles, or D, both A and B?
Blue Jays and Quakers.
Okay. I didn't hear your sound.
Wee woo, wee woo.
1 point for Tyler. Woo-hoo. Great start, Jamie. Oh, no.
Wait, there's 2 zeros? Oh, Ben, it fell out.
Oh, jeez. Disaster. All right, here we go.
I can't do it all. All right. Who is the longest tenured manager in Philadelphia Phillies history? Ooh, stopper. I have multiple choice if needed, but I don't think you need it.
I don't want to ask a qualifier in a trivia, but does Connie Mack count?
Just who is the longest?
I'll go with Connie Mack.
Connie Mack managed the A's.
I know.
Oh, you're just talking about Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And
I knew it was probably wrong.
Wee woo?
I'm going to get, I don't know the answer to this question. I'm going to say.
There's somebody in like the 20s or 30s.
I'm going to say.
Charlie's got to be close.
Ozark. But I don't know the answer to that question.
Final answer is Gene Mauch.
Gene Mauch. All right.
No points for anybody. So, Jamie, you can tie this up, no pressure. Who was the first manager of the franchise?
Oh, jeez. 1903 baseball
here's
managers.
The multiple choice. Blondie Purcell, Bob Ferguson, Harry Wright, or Al Reach?
Al Reach.
Sound, please.
I don't know.
No, your sound.
I'm just waving hello to... Oh. Al Reach. I was just waving hi to our coworker.
Wee woo, wee woo.
What do you got?
C.
And
all right,
Bob Ferguson.
I don't remember who
Oh my God, I love this. I can't wait to play this again.
Oh, yeah. Renee's going to torture us with 1898 Phillies trivia.
This is Phillies history, guys. This is Phillies history.
All right.
It's very fun.
Who led the team in walks in 1912?
Well, tomorrow's topic or Thursday's topic will not be. Oh, you're not going to be here, Tyler. Oh, you will be here, Tyler. Yeah. Thursday's topic will go jerseys and numbers, and I'll choose some more varied
maybe
questions.
from like since we've been alive.
This is how well you know the Phillies.
Yeah, well, I don't know 1800s Phillies. All right, let's get to the Down on the Farm report today. And then we'll run through a couple MLB happenings, and then we'll do Guess That Stance and positive thought of the day. All right, today on the Down on the Farm report, we're going to prospect number 24. And again, if you missed yesterday's show, this is by no means the official rankings. We're using a combination of Fangraphs, Baseball America, Baseball Prospectus, MLB.com, and our own brains here at the PHLY offices, and constructing what we think is going to be roughly the top 25. The official Baseball America rankings come out, I think, over the next like 3 weeks. It's the time of the year, the downtime in baseball where the ranking prospect lists come out. So the number 4 today was a draft pick just last year. His name is George Klassen. To me, it sounds like a pickle man. Doesn't sound like a baseball player. I'm going to say name test alone, Renee, doesn't pass the name test for me.
It sounds like an actor, like George Clooney.
Tyler said author. I could also see that.
I get something more in literature.
Novel from George Klassen.
Yeah.
It sounds like a really good author.
Starring George, or this movie starring George Klassen.
So I wish you all the best, but you don't sound like a baseball player. But he was drafted last year out of the University of Minnesota in the 6th round, pick 193 overall. 6'2", 170 pounds. That in my head is
built like me.
Is a beanpole. A beanpole that throws really hard.
I don't throw 98.
Yeah, 170 pounds just feels like you got to be, eating some more pickles there, Klassen. But University of Minnesota, 4-year player. He wowed scouts. And Tyler, I know you're streaming these games. In the Northwood League in Minnesota, in the offseason of the University of Minnesota, where he was regularly breaking the 100-mile-an-hour barrier. His velocity can get over 100 miles an hour. Back to his college days in 2022, he had a bullpen stint where he walked a quarter of the batters he faced. He took a step forward in 2023 with working on his strike throwing. He tried refining that, but he posted a 5.72 ERA in 56.2 innings with an 18.6% strikeout rate and a 17.9% walk rate.
So
that's not great.
Here's the picture that I've gotten from everything I read about George Klassen and watching the videos.
All gas, no brakes with this draft
George Klassen, and you skip over some of the great stuff.
Like
he was born in Port Washington, Wisconsin. He was a high school All-American. Coming out of high school, he was actually ranked the number 1 pitcher and number 2 overall in Wisconsin.
He was also
ranked number 23.
They don't produce a lot of baseball players, to my knowledge.
He was ranked the number 23 pitcher in the country.
It's cold there.
And number 77 overall player nationally coming out of high school. Had high projections, then gets into college, had to undergo Tommy John surgery in his freshman year, had to redshirt.
So he's Henry
Never
Rowan
essentially was really the same because he had to change his throw from there. And his pitching coach in college, the Gophers pitching coach, Ty McDevitt, had a great quote that I think fits him really well from what I've seen from the footage and film I watched, that George was just someone that he listed as a player that needed development.
Yeah.
And he said that he's one of the most underdeveloped prospects we've had. He's a freak athlete, a world-class competitor, has a quicker arm than guys like some of their former players. But even though, he's got a lot of impressive stuff, but just underdeveloped. And that never changed, though, because even through the remainder of his college career, as you were talking about his numbers, George really never took that next step. He always had a great arm speed, as you mentioned. Averaged 98 as a starter, but was up to 102 at times. And coming into the draft as a sixth round pick, guys, he never really was able to show anything else. So I think for George Klassen, it's been injuries. The injuries of needing a Tommy John surgery shortened his growth he had. And then he also just never was able to get control on his pitch. And so his delivery has been so inconsistent. And that's a problem. So George Klassen, guys, that is George Klassen.
Neil Dever says give him some glasses like a Wild Thing. Yeah, sure. Look, you always take a shot on a guy that can throw 102. He averaged this past spring, his average fastball was 97 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Got up as high as 102. The problem with that is he only threw the fastball for a strike 60% of the time.
Yeah.
Now, the scouts believe because of this control issue, he is a bullpen piece for the Phillies. He's projected, because it's nasty, maybe a back end of the bullpen type of guy that can throw 102 miles an hour. But you have to throw your strike better than 60% of the time. Yeah. 18% strikeout rate is great, but when you're walking people at the same rate, what's the point?
Walk rate
so he has a breaking ball in the mid-80s. With average shape when he doesn't hang them. This is the scouts reports. When he doesn't hang them over the plate. He has a solid cutter in the high 80s. He's projected as a reliever-only prospect because of control issues, but his velocity leaves scouts impressed with his upside.
Yeah, and other reports were saying...
Throwing hard is cool.
And that's the thing. Other reports are saying his range of outcomes is enormous, as there's elite stuff that could be impactful as a starter or reliever, but he also might not make it to AA. Like, he has such a wide range of directions that his career can go because... his fastball is great, but his control and his strikes are a major concern. The walk rates, there's a lot of concerns. And he's 21, he's young, but he still has never, it seems like everybody has had the same report on him, but nobody's been able to fix it, which to me means it might not be fixable.
Yeah, I would get into the family pickle fortune. No, I'm just kidding. I hope the kid works out.
The pickles, just because he's from Wisconsin.
If you're throwing your best pitch is your fastball, you're only throwing it 60% of the time. Unless there's a massive change here, like he is all gas, no brakes. Like you're gonna live and die by that. He's got to figure something out here. Obviously, still a ton of time. He's only 21. So over the next 3 years in the Philly system, and this is when people talk about player development, like. I mean, drafts, all sports drafts are hard.
Yep.
It's almost impossible to project some people. But, player development, this is where, you can harness a guy like this and hopefully turn him into that bullpen piece of a future, maybe with Orion So we'll see.
Well, the other part of that is this is a classic case of a guy that in high school was throwing fastballs that were around 95, and people were saying he was throwing them so hard his catchers couldn't even catch it, and that he struggled in the high school game because his fastballs were too good. And then I get the vibe of high school American, very good two-sport athlete since he also ran track and field, and was just kind of like put on a pedestal, but they never took time to develop anything else because he was able to in high school be dominant with his fastball, and you just never saw him get developed. That happens so much in youth sports. It's a shame, but here we are at 21 years old, and he's not able to be a piece that can
Rick Sachs says, sounds like a great piece in the Mike Trout deal. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, that's the thing. Like, when you can throw 102, somebody's always going to want to take a shot on you. So we wish him luck. Number 24, after just being drafted a year ago. Not bad for him. Hopefully the Phillies can develop him into a strike thrower. And if that's the case, then the kid's got a future. All right, some quick MLB nuggets before we get to daily positive thoughts and guess that stance.
Woo, we're rolling through this.
Imanaga, we're 2 days away. It appears, according to John Heyman, the Cubs and the Red Sox are the most in on him. The Angels have started looking elsewhere, so they must feel as though they're out of the game on him. The Cubs and Red Sox basically have done nothing, so it makes sense that they would be in on the lefty Japanese pitcher. But we have until, Thursday for that decision?
Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time,
so
which
that
is
should be dropping
soon.
any day now with Imanaga. And it appears, according to Jim Bowden, the former GM, the Cubs are pretty much in on everyone. They haven't done anything to this point, but according to Jim, they've made significant offers to Jordan Montgomery, Cody Bellinger, Matt Chapman, and Rhys Hoskins. So 4 of the bigger names on the list, apparently offers have been made from Chicago.
According to John Morosi, the reason why the Cubs haven't officially made any moves is they're allegedly waiting on Imanaga and where he goes, because the Cubs, as mentioned, are a team that's still waiting. The Giants, as you talked about, another team with the Angels that are desperate. But the Giants apparently and the Angels, according to John Heyman, are looking elsewhere. So the Cubs are sitting in a good spot. Now, Rhys Hoskins, as we've all been curious about what's going to happen to him, the Cubs are reported to be the finalists for Rhys Hoskins. They're also reported to be very interested in Rhys, but they're waiting on, this is what reports are indicating, waiting on finalizing a deal with Rhys Hoskins until the Imanaga sweepstakes wraps up.
Yeah, I think Morosi said he can't see a better fit than Rhys and the Cubs.
So with the deadline of Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, means we should have an Imanaga decision in the next 2 days, and then we should have a Rhys Hoskins decision possibly shortly after. But everybody has been saying, as Morosi indicated, that the union between the Cubs and Hoskins makes the most sense, especially with what they need in Chicago and what Rhys can bring. So I think Rhys Hoskins is going to be a Cub, guys.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it's trending in that direction.
For sure. Makes sense.
All right. Let's get to the positive thought.
I got one more thing. I'm sorry. This is really quick. I'm just going to mention it because I'm just going to throw it out there. So there were some reports that came out about the Mets and what they're looking to do this offseason. They've been heavily pursuing some different free agents, names like Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery. But then there also have been reports from Mark Feisan that they might not make a move this offseason for a free agent starting pitcher because they might be waiting, and they're allegedly more interested in free agent starting pitchers next offseason with Corbin Burnes, Walker Buehler, Max Fried, and Zach Wheeler. So the Mets might not.
You stay away from our Zach.
So as soon as I thought, but the Mets might not make a decision on a starting pitcher because they might be waiting until next year. They already are eyeing Zach Wheeler, which many teams, of course, are going to be eyeing Zach Wheeler.
Really
so the Phillies, start getting that extension going.
Because if he gets to an open market,
Mets eyeing Zach Wheeler,
that'll be a lot of money. Stay away, Mets. Stay away, Steve Cohen. Bad. But the Mets are going to stink this year. Let's be serious. My positive thought of the day, since we've seen to just kind of be transferring one at a time now instead of working together as a team. No, I'm just kidding. It's my turn today. I will go with the fact that I think JT Realmuto is going to improve again from last year. I think he had an uncharacteristic dip. Now, this could be the age thing where he's approaching age, I think he's 31, almost 32.
He's 32.
Yeah, it could be that we've seen his best baseball. I still think he's got another year or two left of upping his game and being in his prime. So I'm going to go with JT. getting more true to the back of his baseball card than the slight dip he had last year.
I like that. That's a good one.
I think he's been consistent throughout his career, so I'm gonna go with him bouncing back this year.
Yeah, and as we were talking about top catchers projected coming into 2024, JT still has more in his bag, so to speak. And I think this year is going to be a good year for JT. Mm-hmm. I just want a nice, solid, consistent JT.
Yeah, Barbara in the chat, I'm aware Zach Wheeler came from the Mets. He was also offended when they didn't really offer him a fair market deal. So let's hope that that scorn from before in the free agency period, I think he was basically told I don't even think they made him a contract offer. Because I still think they were in the darkness with the, Matz and DeGrom and Harvey and all that. So I'm not even sure Wheeler got offered by them in free agency. And I think he's made comments about, he was kind of offended by that. So their demise is the Phillies' gain. So good for us. All right, let's get to today's Guess That Stance or Guess That Swing. What the hell are you showing me?
Hall of Fame ballot.
That is way too deep for me to look at right now.
Did I stumble onto this?
What is that?
It's the Hall of Fame tracker.
Oh. It's an Excel spreadsheet.
I know.
Where
I feel like I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Do they know I'm in this?
Did you just break the Hall of Fame?
I can see who's been...
Is the Hall of Fame really running their ballots on an Excel sheet?
Is Renee running the Hall of Fame?
I can see who's been voted for.
That's odd. Chase Utley and Jimmy Rollins now have 287% of the vote. I don't know how that happened.
So I have viewing permission to be able to see the votes. And just really quickly, Chase Utley is sitting right now 45.2%.
I think that's
not getting in this year.
No, not this year, but he's going to get in.
I think this is current.
Probably.
This is as of...
Probably by year 3.
Yeah, this was as of... Today's the 9th, right? 9:58 Pacific time.
Well, is this
the hacker to my right is what?
Is this from Ryan Thibodeau? He's like the ballot tracker.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah. So he gathers all the information and then publicizes.
As of today,
John Foley
Chase
always
Utley
is retweeting
is sitting at 45.2%. J-Rawls 14.8%.
J-Rawls not going to get in. Chase Utley is.
Yeah. Chase Utley has 61 total public and anonymous votes, and J-Rawls got 20.
All right.
So there's our Hall of Fame update for the day.
All right, let's get to it because we're already late, as normal.
We're doing good.
Let's get to today's Guess That Stance. How you feeling, Renee? You nervous?
No, I'm not.
This is just vibes. There's nothing you can cheat with here.
I'm not cheating.
What are you pulling up over there? I see you pull your laptop closer.
I'm just closing out some tabs.
All right, Tyler, hit us.
Yesterday we had the big piece, and we all got it correct.
That was a little too easy, yeah.
It was 1-0.
It was a warm-up.
I mean, we all are at one.
It was a warm-up round.
It's 1-1.
Get people used to the game. All right.
So here
is number 2.
No.
Day number 2.
Oh, no.
Nope. That's the wrong one.
Nope. That's projected win totals.
That.
Nope. That's the wrong
Phillies
one.
Phillies are at 85.
Oh.
Ooh.
Ooh. Ooh. I'm going to slack you.
Wow, Renee's got to guess right away.
No, I don't feel confident at all, but I'm just going to go with what my gut is telling me.
The slack is finite. Once you send it in the chat.
Oh, no.
That's it.
Wait.
The closed, tight, follow-through swing has me thinking somebody, but I'm like...
This is tough.
This is a tough one because...
See, this is a tough one, I think, because it's not the setup stance. I think the setup stance would be a little bit easier than this is more follow through.
I don't really know, actually.
I mean, I have my
people in the chat have good answers.
I mean,
you should just take their answers. You should take theirs, Jamie.
That's my gut. It's just because it's such a compact follow through, and it's clearly a left-handed hitter. No, I don't think it's Charlie Hayes, MBD. He was a right-handed hitter. Dickie Thon, also a right-handed hitter. Dickie Thon as a kid, I always thought was like the funniest baseball name in the world. It's no Dick Pole, but you know. All right, I'm not going with my gut. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna slack it to you, Tyler.
Don't read our answers out loud. Just say if we're correct.
I'm putting it in the Phillies beat, so don't.
I'm just gonna text you, Tyler.
Okay.
Why do you always put it in the Phillies beat?
Because you text. All right, mine's in.
All right, Jamie's is locked in.
No, wait.
It's different than my gut. My gut was somebody else originally.
I'm just going to do it because we're short on time and I'm wrong.
Just send it in.
I am,
just
okay? Peer pressure.
Greg Jeffries. It actually does kind of look like Greg Jeffries a little bit.
This is going to be wrong. I'm just going to start. Tyler's like,
all right, so
Were either of us? Have you heard a correct answer?
Yes. Also, Renee, your guess is right-handed. So you're out.
Wait.
No.
Who's the guess?
Don't worry about it. It's just not. I'm not gonna do that.
So
I'm not putting Renee on blast like
I'm gonna go with my first instinct of who I think what my gut tells me. I did.
All right, I'm just gonna say it's not correct.
Just send it. Vibes and send it.
All right. Here's your answer.
So that means I'm correct.
Oh.
So my original gut was Utley, and then
nobody was right. I thought you said you heard the right answer.
Yeah, me.
David Johnson had it.
Oh, you said.
I said Rollins. I originally thought it was Utley because of the compact follow through, but then the running stance swayed me to Rollins. So that is one of my favorite players of all time, J-Raw. Renee, I took a lead. It's gonna be hard for you to overcome.
I'm not winning this game.
Dave Hollins.
So I have a new approach because you guys are annoying.
You're just all vibes and send it.
I'm just like
that's the approach.
Whatever. I literally went with whatever Phillies player came to mind.
That was a good
first.
one. That was tough, actually, a little bit. Who did you think when you first saw it? Because you see it first. So do you play the game with yourself?
No, I have to load the show up and everything. So I don't take time to guess it because they come in pairs.
Oh, so you see the answer.
So Chris sends it over to me and I just download them. And I see it right away.
Yeah, okay. That was a good one, Chris. Chris Freza. Is Freza? How do you pronounce the last name? Freza?
I believe it's Freza.
I mean, I'm Captain Mispronunciation. Does a really nice job for us on that stuff. So that was a good one today.
That was so much fun, guys. Are we having fun?
Yeah. Somebody's not bitter about losing at all. Oh, that's my score for I guess that swing. Yep. There you go. Oh, it's actually 2-1.
I'm aware.
Yeah.
I'm in red because O'Doyle rules.
I have a feeling, O'Doyle, your whole family's going to get it one day. For Renee Washington and Tyler Zulli, I'm Jamie Lynch. Thanks to everybody for hanging out with us here in the chat. Smash that like button before you get out of here. We would appreciate it. Tell all the Phillies fans in your life that we're here every day, grinding away because we're sickos in the head for the Philadelphia Phillies. But we appreciate it. Subscribe, rate us, like it. We're going to get the hell out of here. We will see you tomorrow at noon. Back at it again. See you then.
We all silly like the mayor.